Megan from the garden. It's Christina from Sunshine and Flora. So as you saw at the first part of this video, I am turning over the hoop house for summer. I have it all cleared out, weeded, amended, ready to plant, and I am so excited to have this done. It is also so incredibly humid today. Oh my gosh, I am just completely melting, but I really want to get this done. I don't know if you can hear that. It's also super windy. So it's market day. We're having to move the market inside today because we're supposed to get some really strong storms later. I'm actually not setting up for the market because I'm in a lull for my focal flowers right now. And what I have, I need for some orders this week. But anyway, in this video, I just want to share with you everything that I am planting in the hoop house for summer. I really want to keep this growing space going because this is prime real estate. So before I start planting, let me give you a look around to show you what is currently growing in here. So the middle bed, as you can see, has been completely cleared out. This is where all of my ranunculus and anemones were growing. I had a really great harvest this year, and all of these are completely cleared out and they went in the compost bin. I had planned on saving a bunch of my ranunculus corms for next year, but I decided not to for two reasons. The first one, I was digging them out and they didn't look absolutely amazing, and I thought this is going to be really time consuming and I'm really not sure how good these look. So what if I'm wasting my time and then they don't even work? So I ended up putting them in the compost bin. I actually needed some browns in my compost bin to even out with the greens. And so all of this row was perfect browns to kind of even that mixture out. The second reason that I did not save my corms is that I was doing some reading and talking to one of my flower friends. And when you buy from wholesale companies, and I was not aware of this, you're technically not supposed to save your corms and reuse them and let them reproduce for further growing years. And I want to make sure that I'm doing everything correctly, especially when I'm sharing this content with you guys. So wherever you are ordering your ranunculus corms, make sure to read the description of them. And if that says that, make sure that you're following the rules. I order from wholesale companies. I don't know what consumer companies are like, but for that reason also, I decided not to save them. I actually had already placed my order for ranunculus and anemones for next year. So I have enough to plant, so I am totally fine. So by composting them, I am not losing out on anything for the next season. So this corner is also cleaned out and looking really good. This is where all of that self-seeded bupleurum was. I have harvested it. I've been using it for about 3 weeks. It was amazing to have that extra for bouquets. And then this little corner, I think I've showed you guys this before. This is where I planted the few Lysianthus that I have from seed. They're looking good, starting to put on some height. I honestly don't even know what varieties these are, so I'm excited to have this little corner. I will be filling in this with, I will show you that in a minute. Now we get to the campanula. So this side was the purple campanula. This was harvested out a few weeks ago, and I have never grown campanula before, so I don't know if these are going to keep producing, but I would like to see. So I cut them down way at the bottom when I harvested them, and you can see these plants are already starting to branch out. Like, look at this one. Now this one is starting to flower, so I don't know if they're going to give me really short stems or if some of them will grow a little longer and maybe I can at least use them in vase arrangements or my mini market bouquets. I really don't know since this is the first year that I grew them, but I want to see, and they all look good and healthy, so I'm leaving them in the ground to just see what happens. The last corner of this hoop house is looking especially good. These plants are like 3 feet tall. This is feverfew. I harvested a bunch out of here this morning to put in the fridge, which you can't even tell, but look at how beautiful this feverfew is looking. I am going to continue harvesting and using as much as I can. A few of these are getting a little far gone, so they'll probably go in compost, but most of it is looking really, really good. And then I'm going to cut it all down and see if I can get a second flush for the season. That usually happens for me. Not as tall of stems as the first one, but I do get usable stems. So then looking over at the other side of the hoop house, I want to walk you towards the back first. This is where all of my snapdragons are going, and gosh, these are looking good. I harvested a bunch out of here this morning. Look at that. This is Potomac Cherry Rose, And I have some lavender going back here. There's also the Potomac apple blossom. I am so excited about these. Now these I did not pinch. So this is the first single stem off of these plants. They have really nice, strong stems. And when I'm harvesting these, I'm making sure to cut them all the way down at the bottom. They will branch and give me blooms throughout the season. So next week, I should have a whole bunch of snapdragons for the market. Then next to my snapdragons is a little patch of stock. Now this got planted late. I am horrible at planting stock, but I think that this is the Quartet variety, at least part of it is, which is supposed to branch and rebloom through the heat of the summer. So I'm just leaving this area and I'm gonna see what it does. If I try stock next year, I swear I'm gonna plant it out when I plant my ranunculus or something. All right, hopefully that last bit you guys could hear okay. The garbage truck pulled up in the alley. Anyway, this last part that has area growing, this is all of my white campanula. And if you've seen any of my videos, this grew so good this year. It grew and was hitting the top of the side of the hoop house here. These were 5 feet tall. They were so awesome. And I have harvested all of these, and I am also seeing what these do. Now these are getting blooms. They may end up being short stems, I don't know. But I went through this morning and all the ones that I didn't harvest that got away from me, I clipped, and I'm just gonna see how much of these grow. Now I do have some open spaces here that I'm gonna be planting in. Over in the corner, there's a few more campanula here. I need to clip that one yet, but this is all Nigella that has developed the pods. I was letting it do that. I need to clip this whole plant now, take it outside and let it dry, because these pods, well, if you guys can see with it blowing in the wind, are really neat elements for dried bouquets. The wind in here is getting so strong at times, my hoop house is creaking. Oh, that sound just makes me so nervous. I know everything's okay, but it is gonna be a stormy night. I know this is really strong and I know it's not going anywhere, but being in here and kind of hearing it creak a little bit, oh, it just makes me so nervous. When we have bad storms, I do close down the sides just because I think that's better. So I will be doing that tonight. Anyway, I'm gonna go grab some seedlings and we're gonna start planting the plants in these open spots first in the landscape fabric. And then I think what I'm gonna do in the center aisle is mostly direct sow some things. So let me go grab my seedlings, we'll start with those. All right, you guys, so when I started planting, I realized my microphones had died, so I had to go back and put those on the charger. But I wanted to get things planted because I need to go set up for the market and we're supposed to get the storms. So I have planted this small area, and I'll throw a picture up on the screen of what I planted here. Whoa, that wind's really starting to come through. These are soil blocks of dianthus that were way overdue and needed planted. All of these items that I am planting in here that were in soil blocks were meant to go in the new area of the garden, but I have not been able to plant it yet because I had to wait for the gas line to get drilled in. But the gas line got put in yesterday, so now I can finally start planting. However, we still need to prep that area, and I had space to fill in here, so I just went ahead and put them in here. So this area is dianthus. They're the big multi-flowering head dianthus. I have white, bicolor, and coral, I believe. And then I plugged some zinnias over here. Let me show you those. So I had 2 soil block trays of zinnias. These are Flora varieties, and I just really wanted to see how they did. Actually, they're not soil blocks, they're just in seed starting mix. And then this is where I put them. It doesn't look like much right now, but I will keep these watered in nicely, and we all know how zinnias grow. They will grow very fast. Again, these are floret. And then the last thing I started inside just to see how it would work are some ProCut Gold Light sunflowers. They're getting a little bit leggy. It's time to get them in the ground. I'm just gonna plug them in the back here. I don't know how sunflowers grow in hoop houses. This may not be the right decision, but they need to get in the ground, and this is where they're gonna go. So I'm gonna pop these in quick, and then the rest of this entire row is gonna be direct seeded. I should mention, I amended this bed with a topsoil that has compost mixed in, and I don't always do this. I did amend with Biotone starter fertilizer when I planted the ranunculus, and they did really good, but I just felt like the soil needed a mid-season boost, so I bought those bags. They were $2 a bag. I got them at my local farm store, and it looks great. I have used this topsoil before in another planting area and was very happy with it. So that's how I amended the soil. Let's get these sunflowers in. So these should pull out really easily. Oh my goodness, look at the roots on those. It's a good thing I'm planting these. I'm gonna break them apart very gently. And I am going to plant these in the same spacing as I would be direct seeding them, which I do about 4 inches. The closer you plant sunflowers, the smaller the flower is. And with bouquets, it's nice to have smaller workable blooms. Okay, there's the sunflowers. Okay, so now for the direct seeding, I have a whole bunch of varieties, and I will share you with these quick. And basically, I'm just gonna go through with my hoe, and I'm gonna drag some lines for my planting. I think maybe 6 inches apart, and I'm gonna just sprinkle the seeds in, cover them over, water them in. When they sprout, I can always thin them out. But I also will be putting netting over this whole row, because a lot of these varieties will benefit from netting, especially like today when there's a strong wind and there's a breeze coming through here. My snapdragons honestly could probably use netting, but they're gonna bloom next week. And then once they're all cut down before they branch, I can put netting on them. But here's what I'm gonna direct sow in this aisle. And I will throw some pictures up on the screen. So I have Saponaria Beauty White, a silver tip ornamental grass. I have 2 kinds of breadseed poppies from Flora, frosted salmon and pink peony. And these I'm not harvesting the flowers. These I am harvesting for the dried seed pod, the poppy head. So these are a really good architectural element into bouquets. They dry really well. So no flowers, I'm letting these get the seed heads. I also am going to be direct sowing a bunch of these outside, so we will see if they do okay inside or outside. I don't really know. I just kind of want to experiment with this row. I have the Covent Garden Market. Then I have a couple kinds of cress, actually 3 kinds. I have the penny cress, which I had as a filler earlier because some self-seeded from last year, loved it. I have the Atrexa cress. I have never grown that before. And then I have the extra fine curled cress, which I also have never grown that before. Penny cress is the one I've grown before. I just never have luck with that. It ends up falling over before I have a chance to use it. So we will try these 3 kinds. I have the white finch Orlea, the white dill Ami, Dara, which is also the flowering carrot, which has the darker blooms. And then I'm gonna throw some Blue Boy bachelor buttons in there. So this is gonna be really easy. I'm just gonna make my planting rows, sprinkle the seeds in, cover them over, water them in, and then we'll wait for them to come up. Okay, you guys, everything is direct sown in here. I'm really excited to see how this goes. I probably will do another round of direct sowing of a lot of these things once I have the new area prepped, because I should still be able to get a harvest of a lot of things. The one thing I am gonna direct sow a lot outside of course, is sunflowers, because the Pro Cuts are 60-day. So I'm due to make another planting of that the end of this week. And oh my gosh, I am just sweating so bad. I apologize, it is so humid. I had to close this side of the hoop house because the wind was blowing my seed packets. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and seeing how I'm flipping the hoop house for summer. I will definitely keep you posted to let you know how all this works and if it works. This is totally an experiment, and I will definitely do a video when we plant the new areas out in the other gardens. So stay tuned for all of that and a lot more. We'll see you soon.